Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and needed to use the bathroom? During the day, the walk from your bed to the bathroom is completely normal. You've probably done it thousands of times. But at 3 a.m., the same hallway feels different. You turn off the bedroom light, you start walking, and suddenly, you become very aware of the darkness behind you. Nothing happened. You didn't see anyone, you didn't hear anything, but somehow, you start walking a little faster. Why? What exactly are you afraid of? Hi, Mismatch Verse. This is Arish, and today we're going to find out why things feel creepy. Because sometimes the scariest thing isn't knowing that something is there, it's not knowing if something is there. Think about this. You're home alone, you're wearing headphones, you pause the music, and for a second you think you hear something. Maybe a door, maybe footsteps. So you remove one side of your headphones and listen. Nothing. Now, logically, this should make you feel better. You heard nothing. But somehow, you listen even harder, because what was that sound? The refrigerator, a neighbor, the building, or someone inside the house? Your brain hates that question. Psychologists Francis McAndrew and Sarah Cohnke propose that creepiness may be connected to ambiguous threats. A threat that is obvious creates fear, but a threat that might exist creates something different, uneasiness. Imagine a man running toward you with a knife. Terrifying, but confusing? Not really. You know the danger. You know what to do. Run. Now imagine you're sitting alone on a nearly empty train. A man sitting across from you keeps looking at you. Not constantly, just occasionally. You look at him, he looks away. A minute later, he's looking again. Is he dangerous? Maybe. Maybe he simply recognizes you. Maybe he's staring at something behind you. You don't know. So what do? You don't run, that would feel ridiculous. But you don't completely relax either. You watch him, and perhaps that feeling is what creepiness is for. Fear says danger. Creepiness says keep watching. This might also explain why masks can feel disturbing. Normally, we constantly read people's faces. We do it without thinking. A smile, a raised eyebrow, tight lips. The tiny expressions on someone's face help us guess what they might do next. Now, cover that information. Imagine someone standing completely still, wearing a smiling mask. You ask them a question, they don't answer. The smile stays. Are they joking? Are they angry? Are they even looking at you? The face gives you information, but the information is useless. Clowns can create a similar problem. A clown's smile doesn't disappear when the person underneath stops feeling happy. The painted mouth keeps smiling, which means you're looking at an emotion that may not actually exist. And then there are things that look almost human. You've probably seen a realistic robot or an old doll and immediately felt that something was wrong. You might not even know what. The eyes, the skin, the movement. In 1970, roboticist Masahiro Mori described an idea now called the Uncanny Valley. Imagine a simple cartoon character, obviously fake, usually not creepy. Now make it more human. Give it realistic skin, human eyes, realistic hair. Normally, we become more comfortable as something becomes more human, until it becomes almost human. The eyes look real, but don't quite focus correctly. The smile looks normal, but lasts slightly too long. The head moves, but the face seems strangely dead. Suddenly, the character becomes disturbing. Your brain knows what a human should look like. You have spent your entire life studying human faces. So, when something gets extremely close, tiny mistakes become noticeable. It's like seeing clothes hanging on a chair in the dark. For half a second, you think it's a person. Your heart jumps. Then you turn on the light. Clothes. And immediately, the fear disappears. Why? The object didn't change. You simply understood it. The mystery was gone. And horror movies know exactly how to use this. Think about the moments before the monster appears. Someone hears a sound downstairs. They slowly walk toward the kitchen. The camera shows a dark doorway. Nothing is there. Another sound. Still nothing. And your brain starts creating possibilities.
But the moment the monster finally appears, something strange happens. You can see it, you can study it, you know where it is. In some ways, the unknown monster was worse than the real one, because a monster has limits. Your imagination doesn't. There's another strange example of the brain struggling with its own signals. Have you ever stood on a rooftop, balcony, or near a cliff, looked down, and suddenly thought, I could jump? Not that you want to, just the disturbing realization that you could. Researchers call this the high place phenomenon, and it has been reported even by people with no history of suicidal thoughts. One proposed explanation is surprisingly strange. Near an edge, your brain may rapidly send a safety signal. Step back. Your body reacts. Then your conscious mind notices the reaction. Wait, why did I step back? And sometimes the brain may misinterpret the safety signal itself. Did I want to jump? The thought feels terrifying precisely because you don't want to do it. Your own mind suddenly becomes ambiguous. And maybe that's the deeper pattern. A sound you cannot identify, a face you cannot read, a figure that looks almost human, a stranger whose intentions are unclear, even a thought that doesn't feel like you. All of them create the same problem. Your brain cannot confidently answer one question. Is this safe? Imagine two of your ancestors hearing movement in tall grass. One thinks, probably the wind. The other thinks, maybe something is there. If it's only wind, the second person wastes a few seconds being nervous. But if it's a predator, the first person may never make that mistake again. So, our brains may have developed a bias. When information is incomplete, don't immediately relax. Watch, listen, wait. Which means that creepy feeling you get while walking through your house at 3 a.m. might not be childish. Your brain isn't necessarily saying there is something behind you, it's saying something much more difficult to ignore. I don't know if there is something behind you. And maybe that's why you walk faster. Not because you've seen a monster, but because, for a brain built to survive, sometimes not knowing is scary enough.